Thank you, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House. I'd like to begin by thanking my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for all of his blessings, for it was truly through him that I was blessed to be able to serve in this august chamber. I thank my wife Diana and our children. Diana mentions almost daily that she wishes that she could be down here at my side and clerking with me, as she did the first year. For those in the chamber that didn't get to know Diana, she did get diagnosed with breast cancer and had several surgeries and some health problems. So she hasn't been able to be down here with me for the last 3 years. But she misses being down here and all the friends that she made, and she thanks everyone here for all of their prayers. I'd like to thank my parents, Alan and Cheryl Shaw. They're probably two of the most hardworking people I have ever known. At age 83, not that I would ever reveal my mother's age, but at age 83, she still works 3 or 4 days a week at the local hardware store, and my father still drives truck and does other jobs whenever he has a chance. That's the Iowans that I grew up knowing. Those that worked, they never complained. They provided for us, their children. We never considered ourselves rich with money, but we were always blessed with everything they worked and provided for us. I really have to thank my brother Gary and sister-in-law Wanda from Ankeny. They've allowed me to stay in their basement for the last couple of years. It's been an honor and a privilege to be the crazy brother in the basement. So thank you, Gary and Wanda. Gary did make one provision a couple years ago. He said the next time you do a radio interview, you have to give me an hour's notice so I can hide from my coworkers. I'd like to thank all of those who helped with my campaign. We all know that nobody got here on their own. There's tons of volunteers, make phone calls for us, march in the parades, door knock. Thank you all for your confidence and faith in me. I'd like to thank all the caucus staff, and that's both sides of the aisle, LSA, the doormen, all the Capitol employees, pages. We all know who really makes this place run. They just let us think we're in charge. I think I'm the last retirement speaker, so I get to make the claim I do have the finest constituents in the state of Iowa from the former House District 8 and currently House District 10. I would also like to thank all of the men and women who served and who are represented by those wonderful war memorials located on the south lawn of our Capitol building. Thank you for your service in keeping us free. And Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for your courage in giving me unlimited time and an open mic here this evening. I have some special guests that made it down here tonight. The Masseys, you remember former Representative Glenn Massey, his wife Pam, his daughter Emily. Of course, Pam clerked for me 1 year and Emily for the last 2 years. So thank you for coming down and sharing this time with me this evening. I've truly been able to lead a very unique life, growing up in rural Iowa, normal childhood, I guess you would say, in rural Iowa, enlisted in the Navy and got to see the world and spent 20 years traveling around the world, and it really taught me a lot. For one thing, serving on these ships in very tight quarters, you get to serve from people from all over the country. So you get to learn with so many people, fellow Americans. And I kind of relate that to being able to come down here to the House and serve with all of you from all the different areas of the state, all the different issues. It really is amazing how we can all get along so well, even though at times it doesn't seem like we are. Some of these experiences took me to places and countries where I lived or visited quite frequently. And I noticed how wonderful it was for us to live in a republic where we have civilian control of our military, we have civilian control of our police, because in a lot of these nations around the world that doesn't happen. As a matter of fact, the citizens are normally disarmed, and they're disarmed for a purpose. That way, even though the country has the name Republic in the name of their country, they are truly ruled by a dictator. And the dictator takes everything they can from these people. They have no protection. That is why when I came down here, I fought so hard for the restoration of our right to keep and bear arms. We have went this state from a may issue to a shall issue state, and I really would like to encourage you to push to make us a constitutional carry state. In other words, we should not be having to beg the government for permission to exercise a right. When we infringe upon the right to keep and bear arms, a lot of strange situations happen. We make a lot of silly laws. I have some more guests up here that are in the chamber up here in the gallery. It's Natalie and Meredith Gibson. These two young ladies enjoy going out to the range with their father and learning how to shoot their pistol and become proficient and how to safely handle it. Unfortunately, their range kicked them off the range here a few days ago because we have a state law that says that Nathan, their father, can't be trusted in order to teach his children how to shoot that firearm until they're age 14. I want to beg to differ. I think it's Nathan's responsibility, and Nathan can make that choice when his daughters are ready to learn to shoot, not the 100 of us in here. So thank you, Nathan, and thank you, young ladies, for speaking out and speaking on behalf of your rights. A second issue that is very near and dear to me, and the one I think I tried to fight the hardest for, you've heard me speak about it before in points of personal privilege, that is the equal protection of all innocent life, the equal protection of all persons. We have a duty to protect all. I don't know where we ever got this attitude in this nation and in this state that this innocent life isn't worth preserving, that we can issue a death penalty to an innocent person who has committed no crime. This is not a social issue. A social issue is who you invite over for Christmas dinner. This is a constitutional issue, and the equal protection that is demanded by the 5th and the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution, and also under the rights of persons of the Iowa Constitution. In my travels, again, I was in one country that we would call a third world country, and I got in a discussion with a gentleman one afternoon, and I said, something we can't understand in the West is why you have so many children and yet you struggle so hard to feed them. He says, well, you know, we have nothing. Nothing. The government takes everything from us. And now they want us to enroll in this family planning, and the people do not want to enroll in the family planning. Our children are our gold, and now they are trying to take our gold. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we got that attitude back again here in the United States, that we consider our children to be gold and not a product of conception? In closing, I have the words of two abolitionists that fought to end a grave moral injustice, the moral injustice of their time. The first words come from William Wilberforce, who fought to end slavery in Great Britain, and these are the part of the speech, eloquent speech that he gave as he forwarded the bill to put an end to the slavery trade there in Great Britain. He says, policy, sir, is not my principle, and I am not ashamed to say it. There is a principle above everything that is political. And when I reflect on the command that says, thou shalt do no murder, believing the authority to be divine, how dare I set up any reasonings of my own against it? And sir, when we think of eternity and the future consequences of all human conduct, what is here in this life which could make any man contradict the principles of his own conscience, the principles of justice, the laws of religion and of God? Sir, the nature and all the circumstances of this trade are now laid open to us. We can no longer plead innocence. We cannot evade it. It is now an object placed before us. We cannot pass it. We may spurn it, we may kick it out of our way, but we cannot turn aside so as to avoid seeing it. For it is brought so directly before our eyes that this house must decide and must justify to the world and to their own consciences the rectitude of their grounds and of the principles of their decision. Let not Parliament be the only body that is insensible to the national justice. I have had some legislation that's been submitted over the years. Unfortunately, we never got it acted upon. So this house has not settled this question. It disappoints me. And I could walk away with feelings of failure or that I did not advance these principles to the best of my ability. But I will close with the words of the second abolitionist, an American abolitionist, William Lloyd Garrison. Mr. Garrison said, "I may be personally defeated, but the principle, never." Thank you, Mr. Speaker.